On the 25th of August in 1985, Michael Jordan played an exhibition game in Italy, and I can't really pronounce it off the top of my head, but he suited up for Stefanel Trieste, and he played against Juve Cassetta. And on his way to 30 points in that game, he jumped, he flew, he dunked, and he also shattered the backboard. And in 2015, the 30th year anniversary of that moment, as well as the Jordan 1, Jordan brand came out with a special colorway that was referencing the uniform that Michael Jordan wore, even though he was wearing Chicago 1s on feet, and that became one of the more beloved non-OG Jordan 1 colorways. And 10 years later, it is back again. Air Jordan 1 Shattered Backboard. And this shoe is dropping on August 23rd for $185 in the United States. Of course, it's been 10 years since we saw the initial release of the Shattered Backboards. Since then, we've seen a bunch of alternate versions trying to recapture the moment when the 2015 colorway came out. We had the 2.0s, 3.0s, the satin Shattered Backboard, the Camelon lows, as well as the mid. But this is the first time that this colorway has retroed on the Jordan 1 high. And first impressions of the shoe, I really like the colorway. I've always really liked like orange sneakers, especially when they're fully orange, like the Dunk on Mars, even though that was more of like a burnt dark orange. That's probably my preferred shade. But this orange isn't like super bright where I feel like I'm offended by how bright it is. And as a Knicks fan, orange is always welcome. I may not think it's like legendary and Michelin star rated delicious, but it is definitely pretty tasty. Quick 5 seconds of your time if you like this video. If you've liked any of my past videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. And the materials on the shoe, it is completely leather. And of course, the one thing that a lot of people who had their 2015 Shattered Backboards really liked about that shoe was the quality of the leather. Now, just some clarification, tumbled leather doesn't always mean it's like super premium leather. It's just the process of treating the leather. So you put the leather in a rotating drum and you don't add any heat or chemicals, but the agitation loosens up the leather fibers, which gives it a more soft and that pebbled textured leather aesthetic. So it doesn't always mean just because it's tumbled, it's like the best leather in the world. It can be really nice leather, especially to the touch where it's softer, but one doesn't always lead to the other. Now this leather on this version of the shoe, I don't have the 2015 version like in hand, can't do a side-by-side comparison. I still feel like this leather is actually pretty nice. It is still pretty soft, not super thin and flimsy. Doesn't have an insane amount of that polyurethane coating that makes it feel too plastic. So I do think it is decent, especially for a Jordan 1. In the mid panel here, it is not like pearly, shiny white. It does seem to be like a slight tinge of sail to it or off-white. Now, another difference between this version and 2015 is the orange shade on this shoe is slightly darker. Again, don't have it side by side, can't do an in-hand comparison, but just comparing images, you can definitely tell the difference. And one more thing that is different pretty subtly, it is the shape. So this one has kind of a taller and more upright heel. And then of course, like all other Jordan 1s, almost, unless like you get something like the Black Toe Reimagined, this shoe comes with the Wings logo that is actually embossed on the ankle here. And moving up the tongue, you get a pretty standard Jordan 1 nylon tongue with the Nike Air tag in orange. I do like how that orange kind of pops and the white background itself kind of separates it in terms of contrast. Really like how that looks. And this shoe does come with one extra set of laces. So black out of the box and then orange as an extra option. And you can actually see the shade of orange in terms of the laces, and the actual orange on the shoe is slightly different. The laces are just a bit brighter. Out of the two sets, I think I'm sticking with the black laces out of the box. The extra ones just looks a bit too bright, kind of looks like a pumpkin. Not a huge fan. And in terms of the cushioning, the Jordan 1 does come with a rubber cup sole with a Nike Air unit in the heel. The cup sole is very durable, so if you really prioritize that, that's a good thing. But it can also be pretty heavy, can feel pretty clunky and stiff. And this sole here, it is sail, so it does have that yellowish tinge. And it does seem to be slightly darker, again, compared to the 2015 version, but it definitely is not white. And in terms of the outsole, orange concentric circle pattern here, very familiar Jordan 1 rubber outsole. And just like the 2015 version, it does come with a branded insole with like Shattered Backboard graphic here. It is just a generic insole, so nothing too special. And in terms of sizing and comfort, I am a wide and flat footer for Jordan 1s. I stick true to size, fits me pretty nicely. Like width-wise, length-wise, no real issues. If you do have wide and flat feet, I do recommend sticking true to size. Now, comfort-wise, this shoe came out before I was born. Nike Air unit on the heel that you can barely feel, a very flat to the ground shoe. That's exactly how Michael Jordan wanted it. Most basketball shoes do prefer or prioritize like a low court profile feeling. So don't be surprised at that if you're not used to wearing a Jordan Retro. Just in a vacuum, it's a very average shoe in terms of comfort. But if you're wearing it for like a couple of hours here and there, you wouldn't have any problems. And I will say, if you're getting a Jordan 1, you probably care more about the looks than like how it feels in terms of comfort on feet. And that brings the total score of the Jordan 1 Shattered Backboard to 28 out of 40. Pretty good score compared to other general releases. Now, first, it is colorway. I do like orange shoes, especially when they're like monochromatically orange. Like most of the shoe is orange. I do like that. And I think this is one of the better non-OG colorways. It looks really nice. If I had to choose in terms of color blocking, I do prefer like that Chicago type color blocking. Isn't like Michelin star rated legendarily delicious? I don't think so, but it is very nice. And in terms of the materials, again, I don't have the 2015 version in hand, so I'm not going to pretend like I know exactly how that felt. But just feeling these, it is soft, feels pretty nice to the touch. It is not like as thick as the Jordan 185 Bread, but it's also not like super flimsy that you see on a lot of like plastic feeling Jordan 1 lows especially. So I do feel like it is still pretty nice leather. And in terms of the comfort, an old shoe, very ancient technology. Don't expect the best. It is about as average under your feet as it can get. In terms of versatility, I think the Jordan 1s are the most wearable sneaker maybe ever. Maybe only like Air Force 1s or maybe Nike Dunks are more wearable in terms of just the shape. It really can't get better than this. And in terms of the wearability of the colorway though, the orange seems a bit too Halloween-y. Like if you're not a sneakerhead, you don't know that it's a Shattered Backboard colorway. You just see an orange and white and black sneaker. You're like, that seems very on theme in October. Kind of bright, kind of stands out. But I will say the orange, unless you're going with these brighter orange laces, the orange shade on these is slightly darker, so it doesn't like hit you in your face. So wearability, it is decent, not the best. Wearability of the shoe itself, very versatile. OG colorways will always have their own place in history, but sometimes there are a few non-OG colorways that come along and they can compete. OGs will still always have a special kind of corner in my heart in terms of Jordan 1 colorways, but definitely this is one of those non-OGs that stands on its own as well. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Sole Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Jordan 1 Shattered Backboard. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.